Hey guys, Dave here from Wolf in the Wild Survival. I'm running around in what is essentially, I guess, my backyard, or the extension of my backyard, on a hot, near the end of July day. Whatever day it is, I don't even know. I don't even care anymore. Oh, life has been so good. Anyway, I got something kind of unique for you guys today. Something very special. I've been wanting to do this video for a long time. I'm so happy to be able to do it now. I've been really wanting to share it with you guys. Beside me here, I have something, it goes by a lot of different names. Ghost flower, corpse flower, Indian pipe, or ghost pipe. Indian pipe is probably, that or ghost pipe is probably the one that's used the most, at least around my area. It is a edible, kind of, very strong medicinal, and it is unique in the way that it's not a fungus. Some of you might have looked at the previous clip, saw it and thought it was some sort of a fungus or a mushroom or something along that. It's actually not. It's a plant. It's a full-blown plant, just like a tree or a fern or a flower or, you know, whatever. But it doesn't have any chlorophyll. It doesn't photosynthesize its own food. What it does is it connects its roots to the roots of nearby plants, usually large trees, and it siphons food away from that plant. So it doesn't need to grow in sunlight. You'll generally find it in very well-shaded areas. It doesn't even really need large amounts of water, although I don't think I've ever seen it growing in very, very dry soil. It can grow almost in any kind of soil, I guess, because it gets everything it needs, all its water, all its nutrients, everything from a host plant that it basically connects to and steals from. It's very, very interesting looking, very, very neat looking little plant. Once you know more or less what you're looking for, you'll tend to be able to spot them without even really looking for them, without, you know, you just kind of catch them out of the corner of your eye and they stand out, especially, you know, in a green setting because they are so ghostly white. Now let me see, I've got one growing here beside me, I got a patch over here, I see a couple growing over there and a patch over here, and then there's the patch beside me here. There's some over here as well. There's quite a lot of them in this area, which is really, really handy, for me at least, because I'm going to be making a medicine out of them very soon. I'm just letting them grow up a little bit more. We'll get to that in a minute. As for, edibility. They do contain some sort of a poison in them, some sort of a toxin. It's a very, very mild toxin. And your body can break that toxin down into harmless chemicals. It just takes a little bit of time for your body to be able to do it. So you don't want to overeat something like this. But as sort of a little side dish or just, you know, an added kind of thing, it definitely does bring something to your plate. I would imagine, much like many other toxins, the more you consume it, you kind of build up a resistance to it, and you'll possibly be able to eat a little bit more over time. That being said, I wouldn't eat it several times a week kind of thing. Once a week, maybe, in very, very small quantities. Allow your body time to break those down. Effects of overeating this plant, either raw or cooked, by the way. You can eat it raw or cooked. the effects of overeating this plant. They have been known to cause hallucinations. Now, that being said, some of you might think that sounds like fun, but trust me, the last thing you want to do is to be lost in the woods and tripping balls at the same time. So you don't want to deal with that. You will also notice like stomach discomfort, intestinal discomfort, probably vomiting and diarrhea, definitely diarrhea, and just generally, not feeling very good at all, nausea and whatnot. Okay. Now this is, I'd say it's probably pretty close to being full grown. And you're looking 3 to 4 inches maybe. Maybe it gets up to 6. I don't really see them growing all that large. Get rid of some of the dirt here. Now, a lot of people say, hey, you do all these videos about edibles and you never eat any of them. Reason being is some of the places that I shoot, in the past at least, has been sort of an area where they experiment on invasive species and whatnot, and you never know what chemicals they're using. You got to be very, very careful about where you wild collect. Right now, I'm out in Muskoka, way back in the bush. There's literally practically zero chance of there being chemicals, so I can eat anything I want here, which is great. Just clean this up a little bit here, and now, I've had these before. The younger shoots, very juicy. The younger shoots are a little tastier, they're a little more tender. The older shoots, like these here, they're not quite as tender, and they're more fibrous. Way more fibrous. Gypsy moths are everywhere this time of year. Another invasive species. So, they're a little bit bitter in their younger phase. They're a little more bitter in their more adult stage. But not necessarily that unpleasantly so. Maybe, to a young kid who likes sweets, probably not going to like it. To an older person, bitter isn't really that big a deal, I guess, or less of a deal. It's really not all that bad. It's very, very similar to asparagus. If you cook it, it gets more asparagus flavor. The bitterness doesn't necessarily go away. I guess it just moves a little more to the background if you cook it. What would be a safe dose to eat? I honestly couldn't tell you. Everybody's different, and it's kind of hard to gauge something like that to a plant that isn't normally consumed on any amount or level traditionally, really at all. But I would say start out with a small amount, 2 or 3 stalks or whatever. See how you feel, and I don't know, as you get used to being out in the woods and doing more of this kind of stuff, maybe you can increase your intake a little here and there until you find your own threshold. Or you could just avoid it altogether and not worry about it, because a lot of people don't necessarily like asparagus. So there you go. Okay. These gypsy moths are driving me nuts. They're ruining all my takes. Get out of here. Medicinal benefits of this plant. First of all, it is a very effective painkiller. It is a nervine painkiller. It's a very, very strong, potent nervine painkiller. You got to be careful about dosage. Remember, these things do cause hallucinations if you take too much. This includes medicinally. Dosage kind of depends on how you prepare it. Is it a tonic or a tea or a tincture? Most people do tinctures. That's the best way to do it. Depending on who you are, your size, your weight, your age. Don't give this to children. 3 drops to 1 milliliter, and then wait a while and kind of see how it goes, because this stuff is very potent. It's very, very good for like migraine headaches, toothaches. I've even heard of similar types of painkillers being given to people with fibromyalgia. How effective it is, I honestly don't know, but I have heard of it, and I do know that these are a very, very strong pain reliever, especially in tincture form. Also, they help to treat or prevent seizures. They are known to be effective on childhood seizures and epileptic seizures. And I know I said don't give it to children, but it has been known to do that. Don't just start giving that to your kids willy-nilly, though. This medical professional, talk to them first. Don't just listen to me on my channel. I don't want to bring harm to any children with this, but it has been known to treat childhood seizures way, way back when we didn't have modern medicine. It's also epileptic seizures. It has been known to be antispasmodic. Things like restless leg syndrome, I think, spasms. It helps to sort of alleviate the symptoms of that. Oh, I know I'm forgetting something. Give me a sec, I'll readjust the camera and... Okay, so after a couple of minutes of thinking about it, I finally remembered. It has a very calming effect overall on the mind and the body. So if you're experiencing what do they call that? Like stress, like panic attacks. If you experience things like panic attacks and whatnot, this plant has a very calming effect. It might require a little bit of a larger dose, and generally, you go to sleep, you wake up and you just feel calmer, more relaxed, kind of whatever. What dose you need exactly, I don't know. But I have heard that while you are sleeping under the effects of this plant, you have some pretty weird dreams too. So I think it kind of allows you to just sort of shut down, do a mental reset, and just sort of recenters you, or helps you to recenter yourself. Way back when, in the days of yore, it was also used to treat psychotic episodes. So it seems to me like it's probably pretty strong at that as well. Sort of a sedative effect, I suppose. So I would imagine in a certain dosage it would also help you to sleep. And a lot of people would probably find that to be useful in a survival situation where you're in that oh shit moment, you don't know what you're going to do, you're kind of freaking out, you find some of this, you prepare it into a tea, because who has time to make a tincture in a survival situation? You prepare it into a tea, you drink that, you calm down, you go to sleep, you wake up refreshed, and you're more able to think better and assess your situation. So this plant, in a survival situation, in a, you know, I'm lost and I'm trying to effect self-rescue situation, can be very, very useful if you know how to use it properly. If you overdose yourself, you could make matters a whole lot worse. Especially if you start in with the hallucination effects, you leave your camp, now you're lost without any of your gear. I would urge all of you who have this plant in their home region or who visit areas that has this plant in that region, to familiarize yourself with it, to go beyond just my YouTube channel and really look into it and try to get as familiar as possible. Especially if you're like me and you spend a lot of time out in the woods, and who knows, I could fall and break my leg or ankle. I could theoretically get lost, even though I know this area very well for miles and miles and miles. It still could happen. Or maybe I just stay out too late and it gets dark and now I'm stuck for the night. And for some reason, things just get from bad to worse. I still have this little friend here to help me to alleviate the pain of a break or a sprain or whatever. I can get a decent sleep and wake up a little more refreshed than I otherwise would be, help calm me down. Just everything that I said. Please, guys, familiarize yourself with this plant. It is rare, but if you come across it, very useful. So I think that's pretty much everything that I have to say about the ghost flower. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope you take my advice and familiarize yourself with it if it's in your region. Because that's what I'm here for, guys. I'm here to help. And I can only do so much. You guys have to pick up the ball where I leave it, where I drop it off. So, see you guys in the next video, and until then, stay wild.